Welcome everybody to the Cheryl Technology Channel. And in this one, we're going to look at Ubuntu and why I chose this one and why is this even on my desktop. We're going to look at that today. If you don't know the Lord Jesus Christ, reach out to me in the comments and I will be glad to discuss with you. I have discussed it with a lot of people. If you need prayer for somebody if you're a Christian and you're watching my channel and you have somebody you need prayer for, just list their name in the comments and I'll take it to Jesus for you. And everybody in this one, that's what we're going to be looking at. Why am I on Ubuntu 24.04? That is a great question. I don't know why. This all started with me trying to come up with a video a couple weeks ago. Well, over the last 2 weeks specifically, I've had issues like making a video. Like I would sit down here and I would try to come up with something and nothing, like blank. I'd have no ideas. And normally I have 1,000 ideas. And this time there was just nothing. I had exhausted every single thing I could think of. I said, well, I could use this distribution or that distribution. And in the end, none of that worked. I just could not come up with anything. I don't know what happened. I just had this block and couldn't get past it. And so I was sitting there thinking, and I kind of went back a few steps and I said, okay, what is causing me to think this way? Why am I having trouble coming up with ideas? And in the end, the answer was that I had tried so many different distributions that I was just so confused. I didn't know which one I wanted to use because some would do this, some wouldn't. There were so many ideas that I was trying to work through and couldn't because I wanted to try to find a Linux distribution to work on. And then I thought, well, I could use Arch for this, and then I could use Endeavor for that, which is, I know it's an Arch distribution, I know that, but it is different in some ways. And I went through all these ideas, man. I mean, I exhausted every idea I could think of and nothing. And I ended up thinking, okay, so let's start back simple. Why do I love Linux in the first place? I love it because it's free and open source. That's why I love it. So I thought, okay, well, let's just try one. Let's try Pop! OS. So that's where I started. I started with Pop! OS. Everything was going good until the third day. On the third day, I had this issue that I couldn't get past. It broke. It broke Pop! OS. So like they have this, like if you go to their software store, right? The Cosmic Shop or Pop Shop, they call it. The Cosmic Shop is the new one, but Pop Shop is the older one. And so I went in there and I was like, oh, look, there's some drivers for NVIDIA. I went install, and that was the end of that. I ended up re-imaging my machine with Pop! OS again because it broke. It broke the graphical side of things. And so I was like, crap, maybe I should have took a backup of that before that happened. So take backups. So anyway, after that, I don't know why that broke that. I don't know why that happened, but it did. I can assure you that that's what happened. So I ended up reinstalling it, and I was just so disheartened. I said, you know what? I'm done. I'm not doing this. If I go in, listen, System 76, I love you. But if I go into a Pop Shop and I install a driver, it needs to work. I can't, man, you're going to ruin, you're going to lose half the people because it doesn't work. If it works, I would still be using it, but it doesn't. So I didn't. I'm not using it anymore. That's where I'm at on that. The reason I came to Ubuntu is because Ubuntu's been around for a long, long time, and it is really progressed, man. It is flawless now. Not flawless, but it's darn close. It's really, really good. And I had one of my next projects is I'm wanting to build a knowledge base for my family, right? So I've never heard of anybody doing this, but it's more of if I were to die, they would have something to go back to reference. Like I'm going to put everything I've ever learned and everything I know in that document. It's for my boys and my wife, for them, like passwords and everything. But I've got a password manager and all that. But all that's going to go in there. Then it's got to be accessible to all of them too, easily accessible. So that's another hurdle to jump over. And I want it self-hosted. But then if it's self-hosted, what happens if it crashes? There's things like that. And it's if you put it on Google, then what happens if Google changes their mind and doesn't want to do it anymore? See, there's all these little questions I think about. And so it's those kind of things. So in the end, I chose Ubuntu because it is very stable. and very reliable. And that's why I chose it. Now, I've tested some gaming on it, right? Because I want to game on it too. Elden Ring runs flawlessly. It ran so good. No frame rate drops, none of that junk. It just ran really good. I ran SnowRunner, which, as y'all know, I love SnowRunner, and I've got quite a few episodes on my gaming channel, the Wedo Local Gaming channel, if you're interested. Done a lot of episodes. It ran flawlessly. No stutters, no jitteriness, none of that junk. And I got to say, man, I thought Ubuntu was going to be bad. I thought it was going to be, I mean, it doesn't look the best. I'm not going to say that it does, but it's all right. It's not bad. But that's kind of where, that's what led me to all of this, is finding a distribution, working with that one distribution, and getting good at it. So that's what I'm going to do. That's what this whole series is going to be about. Now, I am still doing my CCNA. Yes, I am. I'm still studying for it, just in case you are wondering. I am studying for it still. I have gotten through the first part of my studies. I'm terrified sometimes of moving forward with something, because what if I fail? See, I'm afraid of things too. So in this one, that's what this is all about. If there's going to be some of you out there that aren't going to like Ubuntu, you'll like Linux Mint, and some that'll like Arch with Omarchy, and some that'll just like Arch. See, that's the thing, y'all. All of us like something different. No distribution is going to be for everybody. You will have to find what works for you and roll with that. That's what Linux is so good about. That's what's good about it. It's because it doesn't matter who you are or where you're from. You will always find something in the Linux community that suits you. That's what I love about it, is that there's something for everybody. And I think the joy of playing around with Ubuntu, with Linux, is like, it's very fun. But don't let that take all of your time, right? You don't want to spend 4 days trying to figure something out only to find out that it's not possible. So that, I'm just saying, I've done it before. Trust me, I know. And so that's where I'm at, y'all. I think if you're going to pick a distribution, Mint, Linux Mint, Ubuntu is really good. Pop! OS is good. There's a lot of really good ones out there. And you just have to find what you like and what suits you. But I would highly recommend you pick one and stick with it for a while to really learn it and get the gist of how it works. I mean, Debian-based stuff is sudo apt install, sudo apt update, upgrade. I mean, it's the apt is the package manager. And whereas SUSE, OpenSUSE, is Zipper. And there's just a bunch of different. Arch is Pac-Man. There's a lot of them. And there's a lot of them within Arch, not just Pac-Man. There's quite a few. So that's what I would recommend, y'all. Just find one that works for you and roll with it. And just keep going with it. Don't stop. Make sure that you're really pushing forward to learn it, because in the end, I am learning something, y'all. I have learned a lot working at the place I work at now, is that don't waste a bunch of time learning crap you're never going to use. Learn the things you need to know. A friend of mine, a very wise man, Mr. Toby Gertch from Gertch Technology, he told me this. He said, I only learn what I need to learn and stuff that'll make me money. And he was absolutely right, because you're never going to be able to remember all of it. You can't. It's impossible. Now, if you use Obsidian and create a database, something like that, that's different, which is what I do. I do these things. But I'm wanting to put all of my knowledge into something so that my boys will have it. Because after my dad died, there's a lot of things I want to know, and I can't ask him anymore. So I'm wanting to make that a little bit different for them. And I just really want y'all to understand why I chose Ubuntu, because it's stable. That's why, literally, that's the only reason I chose it. I just decided to try it, and I saw that it was fast, and it worked with the games I like. So, you know what? I'm going to use it. And so I'm just going to take this thing and run with it, and I'm gonna stick with it for as long as I have to. Everybody, that's my advice to you. In closing, if you are struggling to find a distribution that suits you, just pick one. Literally, just pick one and work with it, right? So I've worked with Arch and Omarchy. I loved it. I still love Arch and Omarchy. It's excellent. But there's some things it won't do that I need it to do, so I move on to something else. If you find one that doesn't, now At some point, you're going to have to draw some kind of compromise because they're not going to all do everything. But I find that Ubuntu suits everything that I do. For you, it may be Arch. You may be a developer and you may need different tools than what I have. But most Arch distributions come with VS Code now. It's like native. So that's kind of up to you, everybody. If you really are struggling to find something, just do this. Write down a list of what you need and then find a distribution that does that. That's really the easiest way. That's the end of the video. Thank y'all for watching. If you don't know the Lord Jesus Christ, reach out to me in the comments. And if you want to know why you need him, I will be more than happy to discuss that with you too. And trust me, I have discussed it with a lot of people on my channel, some that didn't like it. So that I'm willing to do that too. Everybody, if you need prayer for something, or if your family member needs prayer for something, please, please, please reach out to me in the comments and I will be glad to pray for them every day, twice a day, because I do every day. And that's all I got, y'all. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. And if you want to see more content like this, put it down in the comments and subscribe for more. And everybody, until next time, thank y'all for watching. Peace.